Okay then, let's see if we are live. We're running 5 seconds in. Okay, this is going to be um, a live stream as we're doing now, and I have a couple of thoughts on my mind. I couldn't concise and put it into a regular upload because that would just take too much time. But in this episode, we're going to see if this is going to be a reoccurring thing if you guys enjoy it, where I come on here, do a live, interact with you guys as to what is going on in the boxing and the MMA scene. Um, so, my first thoughts I'm going to be talking about is the the complete fiasco and circus act that we've been getting with Jake Paul, KSI, um, and then we'll kind of see where we go from there. I plan on doing this stream anywhere between 15-30 minutes long, so buckle up, strap in. This is the points made. Enjoy. So yeah, as you guys would have known through the internet boxing scene, KSI is planning to get back into the ring, and there is an event at the O2 on the 27th of August with KSI headlining as the top build, as the main card. And he was meant to be fighting Wasabi, and then he pulled out at last minute, 3 weeks away from the fight, from the bout. And he's had a guy come in who he recently actually done a song with called Swarms, or Swarms would actually like to be called himself as Swams. Um, put the West Indian um, patois there, to give him a little bit of panache. I know it's how the way that he says it. It's quite funny. Um, but yeah, Wasabi's pulled out, and I gotta be honest with you. When I watched that press conference, well, that live press conference, it seems to be a reoccurring thing that we're getting these live press conferences more and more these days, and I just don't get it. It's just you can't beat that experience of seeing the other fighter in front of you. Well, I've never been in a press conference, but if it was any way that I would like to do, I'd like to see my opponent in the flesh to see how they would react to me in person. But we got a lot of these virtual ones. But if you haven't seen it, it's actually on either KSI's or JJ's second channel. You guys can watch it there. But Wasabi just looked like a defeated man in that whole virtual interview. Just looked like he couldn't be bothered. He realized that there was no way of him winning, right? And to be honest with you, I can't imagine Wasabi even throwing a punch on JJ. I mean, he's gonna throw a punch, but there's gonna be no weight to it, no levity, no nothing. It's just a pillow fist, right? And I watched those highlights of Deji versus Wasabi, and it was just a horrible fight. Just, just it was like watching. It was like if you got two blind men, right? Well, two. I'd say if you got two drunk and blind men, and you got them and you told them to circle 10 times as fast as possible, and then put on a pair of gloves and start fighting. That was the equivalent of what that fight was between Deji and Wasabi. It was that bad. And I honestly think Wasabi won that fight because Deji just decided not to throw any punches. He had good head. He had half decent head movement that we've not seen before from Deji, and I just think in that fight, Deji was his own worst enemy. Just couldn't. He was gun shy. He didn't want to throw anything, right? And I think a little bit of that was to play into the fear of, because he's been doing boxing at the level that he's been doing it, and he's been clocked now, like he's been hit hard. And I think he's had that fear in his head that I don't want to get clocked again, I don't want to get hurt again. But Wasabi's nothing like the geezer he was fighting in the last fight. He doesn't even possess that type of power that guy had, and he's not even a professional really. But yeah, there was that doubt and that fear that was coming into it from Deji. But yeah, circling back round, and I heard through various reports and just people talking about the concussion of Wasabi that I didn't know this, but for a period of time, for about 7 to 14 days, you're not allowed to have sugar. You're not allowed to have anything sugar. I didn't know that. And if you do that, then that causes inflammation of the brain if you've got a concussion. And I found it really just interesting. And Wasabi came out of the woodworks, right? And he was actually seen training after he pulled out from the fight, training with his mates in a gym. And JJ's come after him on Twitter and said, how's that concussion going? And Wasabi replies back, he's like, yeah, I'm just chilling, having sugar. And that's when fans called his bluff, like, oh, so you did chicken out, because all of the experts were saying, look, you ain't even meant to be eating candy or sugar. What you're saying, you're doing chilling. So everyone was like, basically, this is bullshit. You're completely fine. You didn't want to just get whooped, right? A lot of people saying, if you knew the entire time you're going to get whooped, why did you put yourself in that position to put yourself on the pedestal? There's a lot of people that are pissed off, and I can understand, But I think one of the main topics I want to talk about in this video is just the reaction of Jake Paul. Look, I got to give it to this guy, right? He has done a good job with marketing himself as the villain, as the somewhat spokesperson for MMA, especially towards the trajectory towards the UFC, saying that these fighters need more money and being like their advocate for them, which I find really funny. The guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to ruffle the feathers, right? And as the saying goes, if you ain't got enemies, then you're doing something bad, right? And I know what he's doing. This guy is not as dumb as he appears. He just likes playing the role. He likes going with the flow of things. That's what he's doing. I mean, the guy done a whole video cussing off Conor McGregor in every way possible. So, but for this, from his perspective, Jake Paul believes that he's taken a W because KSI's opponent has dropped out. And I just find it the most ludicrous, dumb thing one of the dumbest things he's mentioned, right, is the fact that JJ's opponent pulled out. And I'm thinking, hold on a second, you were meant to have a headline event at Madison Square Garden, and just because your opponent couldn't make weight, you deleted the whole card. You got rid of the whole card, right? You denied the exposure for all of those fighters to be seen by new fans, right? You denied fighters being paid an extra purse. I mean, whatever obligations are going to have with contracts and things like that. You denied them. And if anything, the whole camp that they've been doing leading up to this point, I think the card in MSG was going to happen in the beginning of August, like I think the 6th or the 7th. The whole camp for all of those is like completely in vain. And you've just pulled the plug on them. Fuck it. No fights for anyone. And here you are taking the piss in your head, taking the piss out of JJ, right? And he's saying, "Oh, fight me now, yeah." Da, 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 da. And he full well knows. He full well knows that JJ's not going to fight him. That's what he wants, right? Why? uh, the guy, you know, out of all the things that he's played the villain well before, right? But this time round, I think this time round he's made himself look like a proper arse because he's saying, "Oh, fight me now, you're scared," and this and that, yeah. But he knows, if Jake Paul knows, if there's ever a window to get JJ, it's now, to call him out, to get underneath his skin. That's what he was banking on. He was banking on him to say, "Yeah, sure thing, come over, right, and fight me, and we'll get it on," right? But they wouldn't be making the amount of money um, now than what they would make in the future if they done like a world tour press conference, marketing the fight. And he knows this. Jake Paul's only done that. He's done that to Jake Paul's mentioned to fight JJ now to cut his losses because he knows I think Jake Paul is scared of JJ. Jake Paul doesn't want JJ to get the confidence in him to have a fight, have another one, maybe even at the end of this year, and then fight Jake Paul. He really doesn't want that. So he's trying to make out like as if, yeah, you're a pussy, you're this, you're that, right? But at the same time, how can Jake be saying JJ is a pussy, right? When in his third fight he was fighting a basketball player, but JJ's the pussy. In JJ's first fight, he was fighting your bigger brother, yeah, who's absolutely huge at cruiserweight, right? He took a heavy lick in the head, JJ. And he still came forward. He really showed his heart, or he would like to say, the dog in him, And Jake Paul just knows I can't let this guy get the confidence. I can't let him refine his technique. I can't let him have all this time to get better. So I've got to challenge him now. So Jake Paul, from this perspective, this time around, I don't believe that this is any L whatsoever for JJ, right? I just don't think it is, and I think JJ will get the better of him when he puts his mind to it. I can see it happening. And the thing is, Jake Paul has never been smothered yet. He's never been a guy. He's never had a guy that's been on him constantly, right? I know that JJ's were trying to patch his technique in it, but I think, especially for that fight, he has to go back to being that nasty, aggressive fighter that he has within him. And Jake's not going to like it one bit. So, yeah. I mean, on this card, the card that Jake is saying that he should just completely get rid of, you got Face Sensei fighting King Kenny. I believe King Kenny won his last fight. I don't know whether or not he's half decent or not, right? But I know Face Sensei, the guy's no slouch. He's not a chump, right? He's had experience in MMA, right? I think 2 or 3 bouts professionally, and I think he's boxed a little bit. I don't know whether or not amateur or professionally, but I know he's boxed before, right? And on that card, especially when it was the card against Joe Weller, it's the one I remember, and it was Face Sensei versus Avert Flow. I mean, the guy that Face Sensei just looked, I mean, at that level, he looked untouchable. The guy couldn't land one punch at him, right? And Jake Paul was just coming out and saying, "Oh, oh no, this is a massive L, blah, blah, blah." But, brother, have you seen the rest of the card? It's not an L. You know, you can't be saying it's an L when you just completely dispatch your whole card, all the fighters on there, denying them of being seen by the public, denying them any extra nice virtues, right? I just, I just don't know. And a lot of people have speculated that Jake had actually paid Wasabi to pull out the fight, like 2-3 million. That's what they reckon. But I don't know. I don't know if I could see Jake doing that. I don't know. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. Now, to add to another point on this whole internet boxing championship thing that's going on, the Charlie Zelenoff belts. Um, yeah, hold up a second. Where's Charlie Zelenoff in all this? How can my man? How has my man not got an invitation yet? What's all this about? He needs to step up to the plate, bro. I thought this guy was like, bro. I swear this man's like 340, wins and 15 losses on the amateur scene in street fighting. Like, come on, man, we got to invite Charlie Zelenoff, bro. He would be brilliant. Can you imagine Charlie Zelenoff in a press conference? Oh, my life will peak, mate. Charlie Zelenoff. I remember him trying to fight Deontay Wilder and then running for his life every time Deontay was just trying to throw a right hand and running for his life out of the gym. That was hilarious. But yes, that's what I want to talk about. We've recently had Logan call out Andrew Tate. And if I'm Logan Paul and I'm calling Andrew Tate out, it's a great move from a business standpoint. But if Andrew Tate actually trains, he will fold Logan Paul's shit. He will get eviscerated. So, like I'm saying, good move business-wise, because you can market it, you can sell the shit out of it. But Logan will get his ass handed to him, I think. Right? And if I'm Andrew Tate, I like the idea of that. A lot of people, and the thing is, a lot of people think that Logan was only doing this move because he's come to stardom recently with the I don't know, he's blown up everywhere on all social media platforms, Andrew Tate, right? But what Logan Paul has fucking forgot is that this guy only stopped kickboxing 2-3 years ago, right? So when he gets in there, yeah, Logan Paul's at the moment kind of thinking, yeah, this guy's just a hype man. He just talks a lot, he's just a charismatic charmer. And then when he gets in the ring with them and Andrew Tate is just jabbing his head off his shoulders, he'll realize, holy shit, this was a bad idea, And if I'm Andrew Tate, my first opponent would be Logan, and then I would be looking at the winner of Jake. That's the way. If I'm Andrew Tate and I'm the business and I am the millionaire mogul and I'm gonna make more money, that's what I would do. Yeah, and it would be very interesting. Right, let's see what was the other. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. I watched Israel Adesanya's interview after the Jared Cannonier fight, which, thank you once again. I think when I uploaded that video, all of you guys found through the algorithm of YouTube or how you guys found it. You listened to thoughts during the fight, and 83 of you subscribed to the channel. And once again, thank you. Hopefully you see this video as well. Yeah, his thoughts when I was watching him in that interview with his brother, we call him with Dave Blackamoto. Dave Blackamoto. Um, the little inside joke that the fans got running with him. When I watched that interview, Adesanya looks subdued. Looks subdued, like as if, like quite honestly, like he lost. And I don't know. I feel like is that people getting to him like, oh, you don't do this, you don't do that. Mm, so yeah, I don't know. I think he actually is listing a little bit too much to the outside forces, right? And based on his thoughts, I mean, he's right. I mean, he pushed the pace. Adesanya, 151% pushed the pace. If you look from the third to the fifth round, he pushed the pace, man. He was probing, he was touching, he was jabbing. By the fifth to the third to the fifth round, Adesanya was jabbing Kennedy's head off. And I said in the beginning of um, of that live stream, right, when I was watching the fight, that when Cannonier's in there with Adesanya, and then Cannonier gets a sense of how he moves, um, the trap, the parries, totally not what I was expecting. The thing is, really, oh, what's going on? Connection is. Let's put it in. It's not like he does it every 10 seconds. You know, like he's relentless. He doesn't stop. It's every 3 to 5 seconds. He's giving you a new look, and you think you have to think about. Yeah, the way that Adesanya probes is very similar to Usyk. It's just non-stop, and I think fighters they just get mentally drained by it, and they just don't know what to do. And on their behalf, their game plan goes completely out the window because you know, they're constantly being made to think about things all the time, which makes them second guess. You know? So yeah, I don't, and I think Eugene Barrowman said that you're in this phase where the knockouts aren't there, but this this combat fighting is about longevity. It's about how long can you stay in sport and making your mark. You can't do that if every fight you're going in there, you're getting chinned, you're getting hurt, right? You will completely deteriorate fighter. It's like as much as we all love Nate Diaz for the style that he's got. I mean, he is crowd pleasing and people love him. That style, you can only do that style fighting for so long before you start then getting clocked in the head and now you're falling on the floor. I mean, look at Justin Gaethje in the UFC. He was that guy, wasn't he? He was that guy. Gives no fucks whatsoever. Would go in there, get hurt, get hit. He'd come to win the fight. Now we're seeing when he gets chinned, he has got that recovery. He can't just spring back to life and start fighting anymore. When Gaethje's chin now gets tested, he looks bewildered. He looks like in a world of trouble, and you can only do that old man style, the old man Manny for so long. You can only do it for so long before the chin is completely gone, you know. Um, so yeah, I give kudos to Adesanya doing it. And the thing is, because he's so skillful and because he's so, he is that fighter, right? That hits and doesn't get hit. And that in combat sports is to take less damage than the other guy. So I don't get when people are like, oh, we should go in there, throw 15 million punches, and the other guy should throw 16 million punches on his head. And then the other guy should come back with one punch and knock the other guy out. Yeah, look, we all love that when it happens, but when you're talking about the health and the safety of that individual fighter who wants to actually make a career out of fighting, doing that, you will be done within 5 to 10 fights maximum. and especially, I don't know, especially in a shorter period of time in MMA, because MMA is a full body contact sport. They're using all parts of their body. And then think about it, they're only going to go do another camp and they're using the whole body again. You're just going to get run down completely. So I still believe in Adesanya. I still think he is still one of the pound for pound greats, right? And I look forward to his next opponent, Pereira. And that guy is a scary individual. Um, and I don't know. I think that's gonna be a very interesting fight. I think, but I would still put my money on Adesanya to get it done. I think he will do it. And if he does knock out Pereira, I mean that would put a lot of the bias, a lot of the people that were calling him out before, a lot of that to bed. There will be no more agenda against Adesanya. So, um, and with that being said, what is the next UFC? Do we? Yeah, no, that's it. We've got Usman versus Leon Edwards. Okay, let's talk about that quite quickly. I think with that fight, I think Usman wins as well. Can't remember who was Usman's last opponent. Let's have, because I remember Leon Edwards was it Nate Diaz? Let's just type on Usman. Yeah, and recently his brother won uh, the ultimate fight for the heavyweights, and his brothers, his younger brother, funny enough, is fucking huge. Um, all right. Well, was that the last time he fought? So the last time Usman fought was against Colby Covington. That can't be right. Did he not have another fight? I don't think he did have another fight. That's interesting. Yeah. So the last time he fought was in 2021, and that was the year that he was on fire. He got knockouts. He got knockout of Burns in the third round in 34 seconds. Um, then then in April he fights Masvidal, knocks him out in round in 1 minute and 2 seconds. That pistoned right hand right down the middle, and then we got the second fight between Usman and Colby Covington in November, and that went to a decision. But the second fight was a lot tighter, I think. Was it? You know, um, it's funny for Colby. There wasn't a tomorrow, but I got a weird feeling Usman's gonna probably bow out after another three fights, probably most likely. Um, but with Leon Edwards, can he do it? I just don't. I just don't think if you're gonna beat Kamaru, you need to just sandblast him in the first couple of minutes. I think that's the only probable way of beating him. Because if you let the fight carry on, that's when Usman gets bigger. He gets more confident, and that's when he becomes a Nigerian nightmare. That's when he becomes relentless. He doesn't stop. Keeps he keeps taking pieces out of you. He keeps probing. He's just, you know, keeps the onslaught going. But the thing is, Leon is good, but he did get clocked by Nate Diaz in the last round. I mean, look, everyone gets chinned, right? But Leon was in a world of trouble. And had Nate Diaz stopped the showboating and he just ran across the fucking octagon and started hammering away on him, right? Leon probably wouldn't be in the position he is in now. But I can't understand for the life of me why Nate Diaz done that, all that stupid showboating, pointing at him. I mean, look, I guess those are the things that make him what he is. But if that was any other fighter, they would be sprinting across the octagon to get it done, because he was really out on his feet. I mean, my man was doing the Fat Joe lean back, mate. He wasn't there. He wasn't with us. He was in Narnia having a tea party with Barney, bruv. He wasn't there. But yeah, I've got my money on Kamara to do it. And all on the same day, we've got Anthony Joshua. We got Alexander Usyk, because he's the A side, and then we got versus AJ. Where are they fighting? It's got to be in Saudi Arabia, in it. And I believe that fight's going to be coming on in the evening. And then Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards will be coming on 3 o'clock Sunday. And AJ Usyk is Saturday evening. So literally hours in between each other, you've got those two fights. And I've got to be honest with you, people. I don't know what it is. I just haven't found... There hasn't been any excitement from me on my end to look up of the build-up of AJ versus Usyk. I don't know what it is. There's a weird, there's a weird energy behind it. I can't put my finger on it. Who wins that fight? Bro, all I'm saying is AJ. I just hope his camp. I really do hope that they've implemented a good physical game plan for AJ, for him to go to the body. Right now, with AJ, he's got power, he's got speed, he's got good footwork. If you look at AJ's feet, the guy's got good footwork, right? But as we know, he hasn't. You know what? All right, he got blasted by AJ in Madison Square Garden. He got blasted by Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden, right? But after that, he's never really been clocked like that again. And I think what it is the thing that I mentioned, funny enough, with Deji and Wasabi, is because AJ has this fear in his mind about being hit like that again. He doesn't want it to happen. But because he's letting it play too much into him fighting his opponents, he's getting stuck in the mud. He's not going for it as what he would do when he was younger in his career, especially up until the point of fighting Vladimir Klitschko. It's almost like as if when he fought Vladimir Klitschko and Andy Ruiz, when he got blasted in those two fights, he thought, fuck, I don't want to be blasted like this again, right? But with famous words of Tyson Fury, you can't go swimming and not get wet, eh? So, and especially if when fighting Usyk, you're not gonna be more technical than Usyk. There aren't even a handful of boxers on this fucking planet that are as skillful as Usyk, right? And I think you'd even be surprised if he was to get in a ring with Tyson Fury. You'd be surprised. He is that guy. Usyk, I've been saying this for years, for about a good 2-3 years. He is a dark horse in the heavyweight division. He always has been. You're talking about a guy that's had over 300 amateur bouts. I mean, I'll just pull it up now because I'm not talking out my arse. Bruv, this guy has been around the block. He's seen it all. Let's just call it out now. Bruv, the guy has an amateur record, 335 wins, 15 losses, amateur. Bruv, this man lives and breathes boxing. So, and I found it hilarious when in that first fight between AJ and Usyk, everyone was going, "Oh, but he's only won like 17 fights." Oh, all right, cool. Keep believing that. So he just needs to go in there and just manhandle. You know, I don't. In the beginning, I would. What AJ has to do is AJ has to think about how can I catch Usyk on the right side of his body, because he's a southpaw. It's all about stances and timing, right? I'll actually give you a little bit of a game plan of how to catch Usyk, right? He's a southpaw, right? He fights with his right hand as the jab, right? Now, what AJ has to do is the jab from AJ from that position is a little bit useless. When you fight a southpaw, especially if they know how to parry you, how to feint you, throwing a left jab from orthodox positions is really hard to land. I've seen it a million times, right? And you see fighters try to do it and it just doesn't work, right? One example of somebody who just got rid of their jab completely, when they were fighting a southpaw fight, when it was Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo just said, "Right, I don't need the jab. I'm just going to hit you in the body," right? Now, what I'm about to mention is probably something AJ has never done in his career. Now, I would box Usyk. I would box him how like old day AJ, jab, right hand. Let Usyk get used to it. Let him think, oh, I'm just fighting the usual AJ that I've been accustomed to fight, right? Or the AJ that I previously shared 12 rounds with the last fight. Okay, I'm used to this. Fair enough, right? Then what you do is the second round starts. Now, this is where we start implementing the traps on Usyk. So, in Usyk's head, he's thinking, oh, he's just doing the run-of-the-mill thing. You come out, you try to throw a jab, it doesn't land. It could land, it could not land, right? Now, or sorry, not a jab, forget about that. When it comes to the right hand, right? The right hand doesn't have to land, right? So, you're jabbing, right hand, you jab, right hand. You can miss about 2 times, right? Then what you do is you come forward, you feint with a right hand, it's still here, but then you come back with a left hook over the top. So he's not expecting it. All he's been expecting is the run-of-the-mill of the classic 1-2, right? Left hook, right hook. That's what Usyk would be expecting. But then you go in there, you do the classic 1-2, you feint left hook over the top, and you're catching him on the right side of his body, and it's quicker to throw a left hook on Usyk because that is what is exposed on his body, right? That would be one of the punches I would throw on him. But obviously, you would have to chain react five, like 10 to 15 other combinations that are implemented with feints and parries to catch him, because these are all the things that Usyk does on all of his opponents, including AJ, right? But that's the thing. Does AJ have the mind power to completely change his style and catch Usyk when he least expects it? That's what I think. He has to become. Not only does AJ have to bulldoze Usyk, AJ has to become he has to be the most intelligent version of himself that he has ever been to beat Usyk. That's what it boils down to. Because all of these things I'm mentioning, right? Usyk will be more technical than what he was in the last fight. But the question is, can AJ completely change his game in that manner? Be intelligent, be patient, and catch him. Can he do that? But I gotta be honest. If I'm thinking who's actually going to get this victory, I gotta say I think Usyk. Until I see AJ step in that ring, until I start seeing him in person a little bit to build up to the fight, I could get some hope. But for now, I gotta say Usyk, because let's not all forget, Usyk has been away training, trying to find a game plan to beat AJ. So can AJ do something in this fight that he's never done before? That's what we need to see. But guys, thank you all for watching. And in the near future, we'll do another one of these. If you like them, you'll be getting more of them, I guess. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.